about to open a window into the life of a ghost hunter. We'll show you dark, creepy roads that fade into the night. We'll show you haunted places, but most importantly, we'll show you what happens along the way there.
Hi everybody, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Linda.
And we're here at a Wawa. Got the ice machine there in the background.
Yep, there it is.
And we're on our way, venturing out to Malvern Hill tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We initially had an investigation lined up, fell through.
Yep.
So now what we like to do is just go out to some haunted places, check them out.
Yeah, just drive around. Even though it's a little bit rainy out, it's been some rainy nights that we've seen and kind of heard some creepy things out there in Malvern Hill.
Absolutely. So we're going to get on the road, a couple stops along the way, and see what happens out at Malvern Hill. Tomorrow night, coming up, we're heading out to Unionville for a return investigation, a place we were at a year ago.
Yeah.
The Paranormal Case Files video was the little girl's ghost in the woods. I believe.
It's become a popular YouTube video.
It was.
Yeah,
it was a fairly popular YouTube video. So we're going to go out there this time, though, look for more evidence, and we're going to spend the entire night out at the location, tromping through the woods.
Right.
Set up cameras, monitor the entire area,
Yeah.
and see if we can pick up some even better evidence than last time. Stopped off here at Love's in Providence Forge, I believe. On the way out to Malvern
Sounds
Hill.
good.
Yeah. But what was interesting was in the urinal, above it, they have the circular. And I noticed they have somewhat of a plethora of CB radios here at Love's. Now I have this idea. I'd like to get a CB radio because in our research, truck drivers report a lot of paranormal activity, a lot of sightings along their travels.
They do.
And I'd like to do a segment, maybe call it Paranormal CB
Yep.
or Paranormal Trucker or something like that.
Yeah, that'd
where
be
you
cool.
get on the radio and
Yes.
you get the ghost stories from all the different people in their travels.
That would be cool.
And basically interview them over the CB radio.
Right.
Let's take a look at some of these things.
Hey, before we do that, you know what I saw in the bathroom? Did you see the little buttons?
Yeah, for the feedback.
Feedback.
They have
Yeah.
feedback buttons, but I didn't want to touch them because a lot of people probably don't wash their hands and push the feedback button.
I pushed the feedback button and then washed my hands.
Guess you could
so
do
I felt
that.
like it was safe.
Yeah, that's always safe. Look at these things. Got a sale, somewhat of a sale here. $69.99 for the Uniden. Got the Cobra. Tell you, these are some nice looking CB radios here too. And then down here we got the big boy, the Road King. And I'm browsing the hats. Here's something interesting. Look at that. This is a good Expedition Slalokum hat. Bigfoot on it. Another paranormal, perhaps Expedition Slalokum hat, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Legend. I don't know. I mean, this might have to invest in this. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a pretty cool one, especially since it's the VAPI colors. You know?
It is black and gray, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
One of those little purple in there would be perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They do have nice hats here, though.
They do. What's that one there?
This one says 1976. America, something, something.
American Trucking.
Yeah, but I like the way it's got the kind of distressed look to it already.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Nice.
We're not quite into Malvern Hill yet, into the battlefield area. But this is one of the roads that we turn on very close to Malvern Hill. And for some reason, this road just has a very eerie feel about it. Does it not?
It does. And I don't think it's just because of the trees on either side of the road and the fact that it's kind of desolate. It just feels strange. And to me, particularly when we come up to this farm that you can kind of see on the left-hand side up on the hill, and there's a fence running around it, but it just feels odd, like right through this area, and I can't quite put my finger on why, but it's creepy. It is really creepy.
Okay, so we're entering the battlefield area along this road just past the Glendale National Cemetery, and this was part of the 7 days battles, and it says this was the extreme left of the Union line at Glendale and was held by Hooker's division. When McCall, just to the north, was broken, Hooker, supported by Burns' brigade, drove the Confederates back. In the night, the Union Army moved southward. Bless you.
Thank you.
So, here we go, venturing into the battlefield area, which at this end of it, there's still some private residence. And we're wondering what kind of activity these people must experience in their houses. You know, because we get some calls here from battlefields, and I'm gonna turn on these purple lights so you can see Linda. Linda, why are these lights purple?
Because we're actually in my car tonight. And I changed out all of the lights inside the car to purple LEDs. I've got Virginia Paranormal Investigations graphics on the outside of the car, purple lights over the license plate, purple lights in the trunk. So, and actually there's purple lights in the floorboard and everything too. So, just kind of a cool little thing. It might make us look a little strange, you know, but
absolutely,
I think it's cool.
It gives a nice ambience.
It does. I think it does. Yeah, ambience. Yeah, but yeah, this is got to be a very haunted area. I mean, the whole area's got to be inundated with spirits. I mean, it's a battlefield, and it's got a cemetery back there. You would think those residents have got to have some pretty good stories to tell. Definitely.
This is probably where it gets fairly creepy, a little bit farther away from the houses. These eerie trees just growing on either side of the road, and the road just seems to disappear into the trees. If you could see that far beyond the glow of the headlights. It's an awesome drive, it really is.
Yes.
And thinking as we're driving down this road about the huge battle that took place here during the Civil War. So we stopped to get out of the car right here on the intersection of Willis Church Road and Carter's Mill, where there's a historical marker talking about the 7 days battle at Malvern Hill. Across the road stretched the Confederate line of battle facing south in the afternoon of July 1st, 1862. Jackson commanded here. Magruder to the west, Longstreet and A.P. Hill were in reserve. The battle lasted intermittently from morning to night, reaching its crisis late in the afternoon. Can you imagine these fields that are now just shrouded in darkness being full of soldiers?
Yeah, I really can't. I mean, it's really kind of a strange and desolate place right now, and to think that at one time this entire area was just crawling with soldiers, and you know, there was battles, there was the cannons balls flying through the air. One of them destroyed the parsonage that was nearby here. The ruins of the parsonage are still standing out there, and boy, is that a creepy place too. But yeah, hard to believe that there was such a horrible battle here that occurred when it's just so quiet and somewhat peaceful here now.
So here's another stopping point in the road, and this sign up here talks about the Southern Infantry advancing from the woods on the outskirts of the field here, which you can't see because it's shrouded in darkness, and they were met with artillery fire, but they kept advancing. And far over here is a really cool old farmhouse, and I gotta say, I mean, this place is just awesome. It looks like a place straight out of a horror movie. It really does. Probably can't see it on the camera here.
No, too dark.
But it's definitely an eerie place. We'll see if we can get a better look at it, but I'm not sure we can do much. So down here at the end of Malvern Hill, there's some more historical markers that talk about Turkey Island, the flood of 1771, and this old gate that still sits here, covered in vines. The wall is still there, from an old plantation, I believe it was, that used to sit back here. It was called the Turkey Island Mansion. And there's a picture of what it used to look like. Heading back down the road into Malvern Hill, and I have to say, it's getting good because there's kind of a fog that's starting to roll across the road. And I always like that. It kind of, you know, adds to the factor, if you will.
Makes it more creepy.
It does. It does. And when we stopped back there at the Turkey Hill Mansion, once again, there was, you know, a fog rolling across the headlights. And it was eerie standing out there. It really was, because the road is pitch black.
Yeah.
You know, the light from our headlights, that's it. And there's not a lot of cars out here. At least not typically. Tonight there seems to be more cars than usual.
Yeah, it could be because we're here a little earlier than we normally are.
Yeah. All right. Stopped here outside of the Glendale National Cemetery.
Yeah.
And pretty cool place, the Glendale National Cemetery. Let's kind of put this out the window there. You can see the flag lit up in the middle of the cemetery. And there's little, I guess it was the graveyard keeper's building at one point, or the caretaker's building.
Yeah, a lot of these caretakers' buildings, they look alike. I remember the one out by Cold Harbor Battlefield looked exactly the same, and a child had fallen out the second floor window and was killed at that one. But it does look a lot like the one that's at Yorktown as well, in the battlefield out there. So, but beautiful graveyard nonetheless, gorgeous. When you go down inside there, that's just very nice, picturesque kind of landscaping. And but I imagine at night it would be quite creepy.
Yeah, and the significance of this place is right outside the window here. A couple years ago, we pulled up and caught a pretty compelling picture.
Yes.
And I'll see if I can flash that picture up on here. This picture, we dubbed it the Ghost Lady of Glendale, right? Or was it the Glendale Ghost Lady? We dubbed it something to that effect.
Ghost Lady of Glendale. This is actually Glendale National Cemetery is what they call it. And it was named after a farm. And the farm was actually owned by Lucy Nelson, which we found quite intriguing because we're from Yorktown, down in that area. And Nelsons are big down in that area. But yeah, it was a little bit strange. She had been snapping off pictures one after the other, you know, in succession. And
the first one immediately looks like what we thought was a woman standing there.
Yeah.
You can see the bottom of her dress and the 2 feet coming out. At least that's what it looked like.
Yes.
A picture taken immediately afterwards. I just saw, like, when I took the picture, I saw it pop up with something on there, so I immediately took another one.
Right.
And in the same minute, you compare these two pictures, there's nothing in one.
Right.
And this is there. It's like we caught her off guard or something like that.
Yeah, the first picture had her in it and the second one didn't. Now, what's also intriguing about that picture is that we've had a professional photographer take a look at this thing, and he could not find one single surface that could be causing a reflection or any other explanation as to why this sort of pillar of fog is what it looked like would have been standing in that exact location or would have been there. And in addition to that, we ought to also come down here one time with a spirit box. And the spirit box session was quite cool when we were here.
It was. That was actually for an episode of Paranormal Shakedown that we never released.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, that's what that was. We never finished putting that one together. But some of the questioning led us to this graveyard. Yeah. And, we did get some, I think a name came through. And the name, when we looked down, the grave was right there with that name on it, which was pretty interesting. Yeah. And it wasn't like we looked at the gravestone and saw the names on it first. We heard the name, so we weren't, biased to hear that name at all.
Right.
But sure enough, it happened to be right there in the graveyard.
Yeah.
So, interesting stuff. Back here at Love's. Got the chili cheese dog with some onions and banana peppers. Looking pretty good, I gotta say. And it's a bacon cheddar hot dog.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, I went for something a little different this time. I normally go for the jalapeno cheddar.
Mm-hmm.
But the bacon cheddar had bacon, the word bacon in it. So,
Anything with bacon and cheese is good.
yes,
Amazing. Usually.
with more cheese and sausage.
Yeah, especially wrapped up in processed meat.
Yes, there's
That
something
was
about that
even
processed
better.
meat. Spam, love it.
I got nachos. And this place is awesome because you can get everything. All the toppings are all fresh. They have fresh pico on there. I've got onions, I've got chili, I've got cheese, I've got jalapenos on there. Now, I'm not a big jalapeno person, but I figured they're fresh, so why not just throw a couple of them on there? It looked really good. So
I gotta say, it looks a little better than the ones you got at Pilot. The
oh
other
hell
week.
yeah, definitely better than the ones I got at the Pilot. Yeah.
There you have it. Love's wins when it comes to nachos.
Mm-hmm.
So, Malvern Hill is quite a place, I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
And the video will never do it justice, especially at night.
Oh yeah.
Because there's like a low light off in the distance that, I don't know if it's coming from the city or what.
Mm-hmm.
But you can kind of see the shadow of the tree line in front of this dark gray sky.
Yeah.
And these fields that just stretch out into the darkness to these tree lines. And you can imagine some of the sights that people probably see along this stretch of road at night.
Yes.
You can almost feel the spirits that are there. You could imagine just driving down this road and seeing soldiers charging out of the woods.
Oh yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah, and there's not a lot of traffic down there at night usually, but I would imagine that the people that do travel down there probably see, like you said, quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's one of those places that I think what we're going to do is go back there during the day. And we've been talking about it because battlefields, unfortunately, you can't actually go onto the battlefield at night.
Not supposed to, yes.
Not supposed to. It's not legal to. But you can during the day. So we're thinking what we're going to do is we're going to start hitting some of these battlefields during the day, doing investigations, and perhaps compiling a series of videos that highlights the history of these battles
Right.
and then shows any results or lack thereof that we might get from an investigation wandering about these battlefields during the day, because spirits do come out during the day as well. There's been several of sightings, especially in places like Gettysburg, where people have seen entire battles going on in broad daylight, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
So here we are, driving along 64 West, heading out to Unionville for an investigation day. We got Will in the back there, and over there you can see Tanya. And the car that we're driving in is a rental, unfortunately, not our usual vehicle, so not quite as much space perhaps as we normally have. I don't know.
Maybe more? I don't know. We fit everything in the trunk.
We did fit everything in the trunk.
Including the easy up and the folding chairs and the table and
Propane
everything
tank
else.
for the heater because we're
Right.
going to be setting up outside all night.
Yeah.
But interesting point that came up, some news perhaps. Our next expedition has been scheduled. Not quite going to disclose the location yet, but it is in the mountains of Pennsylvania.
Yep, at the end of April.
At the end of April, we're looking forward to really going up there, getting out into the woods again, and spending 2 nights out there.
Yes.
But there have been a lot of sightings. Now, the subject of this expedition is not so much going to be Bigfoot.
No.
We've actually been researching dogman sightings.
Yeah.
And this is an area where for years there have been a lot of dogman sightings, upright canines walking around. One of the differences between this and Bigfoot is the eyes. A lot of people talk about seeing these yellow eyes on this upright figure. And it's, of course, believed that when you see the yellow eyes, it's the dogman.
Red eyes is Bigfoot.
Right.
So.
But a little bit about the area. There's a place there where there have also been some ghost sightings, correct?
Yes.
And what's the story with that?
There is an area right close to there called Dead Woman's Hollow. And Dead Woman's Hollow is named after this woman who actually got bitten by a snake not too long ago and was killed. But prior to that, many, many years before, there was a woman that was murdered right there in the hollow. So going to be kind of a creepy place, I think, and very desolate, right up next to a game preserve. So we believe that may actually help us out a lot, and looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So, Will, what are your thoughts on this expedition? You excited?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I already have it in my calendar. I'm taking off, guys.
Right on, right on. So that's going to be awesome. And Tanya,
Yep.
how about you? What are your thoughts on this?
Not camping.
So perhaps we won't see an appearance from Tanya, but
No.
yeah, it'll be a good time.
It will
Definitely.
be. At least until everybody starts stinking on the third day of being out there. Because there's no showering out there.
Right, but there's a little stream.
Yeah, cold mountain stream.
Yeah.
Like it's probably the snow melting and trickling off of the mountaintops at that point, because
Right.
it's going to be spring, like early spring.
Sounds like a good
so,
time.
ooh, I don't know.
Does it smell like Bigfoot or does it smell like Will?
Yeah, perhaps we could start a VAPI polar bear club.
Ugh,
You know?
I don't know about
Get
that.
the polar. We'll have. It'll be like Cub Scouts. Like you get a badge for everything you do. So
Oh, yeah.
you've been on the Dogman expedition. You get a Dogman badge. You dove
Yeah.
in the icy stream. You get the VAPI polar bear badge.
I would have to. Yeah, I would do it for a badge. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, Little Angela's Restaurante, huh? Fancy, isn't it? Kind of fancy. What do you
It is
think,
nice.
Tanya?
I think I'm gonna eat a big salad.
So, perusing the menu here, we got some grilled veal chop. Any takers?
I'm gonna stay and sit
No.
with the salad.
Yeah, I'm definitely not eating baby cow.
No?
I like mama cow and papa cow, but not the baby.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So we determined the difference between a calzone
And a stromboli.
and a stromboli, and it's the cheese.
It
the
is.
calzone has two cheese.
Is
Two cheese. It's two cheese, right?
Yeah, we decided the calzone has ricotta cheese in it, right? And the stromboli has the mozzarella.
Yeah, and the calzone has the mozzarella and the ricotta.
Oh, is that what it was?
But either way, that's what we're getting. We're getting that calzone.
Yes.
And some other things in it. First, can't wait to tear into that. Some interesting orders from this side of the table as well, if I could pan the camera.
Yeah. So I'm just getting a house salad. I'm not too hungry tonight. I think I'll probably eat a lot later. But I'm excited for a salad.
Absolutely, with protein.
No protein.
Oh,
no
no
protein. None for me.
Tanya, did you get some protein?
nope. Just a big dinner salad.
Big dinner salad, the big salad. You gotta love the big salad every once in a while, right?
I think we ended up in a place that was a little more pricey than, what Will was prepared for tonight. So he's brought his own lunches for later on. We're interested to see what he brings from his house to eat.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for a sheets, really.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely could have done a sheets, but I figured maybe sheets would be, and sheets
Yeah.
would be later on tonight anyways. We would be back at a sheets.
Yeah.
So,
So you got the house salad there.
Yep.
Probably what I saw them serving.
House
Doesn't look
salad.
too bad at all.
No protein.
All
Yeah.
right. Going with the water too. I know. You know.
Ghost hunting on a budget.
Did she hand you a straw?
I know. I feel
She
bad. Like as
did.
soon as I'm like, I'll go
Yeah,
for the
she
water.
did.
Yeah.
I know
With
that
the drink.
they're immediately like, like this isn't gonna give a good tip here. This is not gonna be a good tip. So Will's getting ready to tear into
Here we go.
a roll. Got some bread and water over there.
This is not user
Kind of
friendly,
takes you
right?
back to the old prison days, huh? Will, with the bread and the water.
Wow.
This
Yeah.
is all y'all's fault.
That's it. Hang on. Now you can put a little cheese on it.
Oh no.
Yeah, look at that. Making a meal out of that
Cheese.
bread.
And I don't know what this is, but it's got
That's crushed red pepper.
crushed red pepper.
So I
I
hate
should have put that up there.
Yeah. I hate to break it to you, but this is actually not that expensive
No,
compared
it's
to
not.
restaurants.
You don't think so?
No, the dinners are like 10, 12, $13 bucks, but
Unless you go for that veal chop.
Well, veal or seafood, you know,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it gets up into like $35 or something, which, you know, is not that big of a deal because it's seafood. But
Well, maybe the $2 sign was right.
But yeah, the $2 sign that they gave it on Google probably was correct. Probably was pretty accurate, and especially if you have really good food, you know, it's
Oh, yeah.
it's worth it.
So how's that bread
I'm just buttering it up. You know.
buttering it up?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
looks really good.
that could be your slogan right there. We get that put on a shirt.
What would the shirt say?
Just buttering it up.
Just buttering it up.
Buttering it up. Here we go. I'm excited. Oh, you know what? I gotta take a big bite out of this roll.
Oh,
Here
big
we
bite
go.
with the roll. Put the whole thing in your mouth.
Oh my God. Turn it into a Jeff.
That was quite a bite, though, I gotta say.
Yeah, you have to roll.
Is it good? Perhaps, let me see if I could try one of these. Let me see if I could just try one of these rolls right here. I love these Italian rolls because, like, you tear them, you put the butter on them, and just. Mm. That's a good head.
Doesn't that look
the
good?
size of this salad. With
Yay.
that, what is that on the? Is that
Mozzarella cheese.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like caprese
Can
salad.
we have some more bread?
I wasn't sure if it
you.
might be tofu.
No.
Got to get that protein in there.
This is a great salad.
Oh yeah, a little pepper on the salad.
Yes.
Yep, gotta add some flavor. That's right. What kind of dressing did you get?
Whatever the house dressing is.
It's like a balsamic vinaigrette.
Yep.
It's amazing. Amazing. Not getting your mouth.
So here we have this huge calzone. Look at this thing. Looks
Oh, whale.
amazing. It does. It does. Got the sauce right there to dip it in.
Oh, that looks really good.
Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
What do you say, Will?
That looks good.
Yeah.
But this,
I think you're going to end up
Hang on.
helping me that.
I haven't. Here we go.
Stuffing it down in his shirt. Really hot.
Really
got
hot.
there?
Okay,
Okay.
we'll burn you. Watch your glasses. I don't want to burn your glasses.
Oh yeah, that's manicotti.
Look at that manicotti. That looks pretty good.
It does.
Gotta say, that's some serious manicotti right there. You were talking about that salad, Will. I see you have an olive. Looks kind of like a Kalamata olive. if I'm
Yeah,
not
they
mistaken.
were Kalamata.
Ah.
No pit. Pretty good.
You know what? I don't like olives.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I'm gonna try it though.
Be careful and make sure there's not a seed.
You sure there's no pit in there?
No, there's no pit.
It is or it isn't pit. So it's got the
There's
seed.
no pit.
Yeah.
It is pitted.
Sit it. Look, he really doesn't like that.
So looking at the inside of this thing, I mean, this is amazing. Yeah, can't wait to tear in this and then spend the night out in the woods, huh?
I want to see that. I have toilet paper in my bag just in case. I don't trust him.
What's the verdict on that? Looks pretty good, I gotta say.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you've tried the manicotti.
I did take a bite of that, and it's very, very cheesy. But I have to say the tomato sauce is amazing. That's one of those things that can either make or break an Italian dish. You have to have good
Spaghetti sauce.
spaghetti. Yeah, you have to have really good marinara sauce or a
That's
really
right.
good red sauce in it. And they did an excellent job with it.
All right, I'm gonna try this. Said the marinara sauce is good, so I'm gonna get it
It
in there
is.
really good. Get a
It's
good
not too
dip
hot,
in there.
is it?
I hope not. Is it hot?
Holy crap, that's a lot of cheese.
Oil all over my pants. Throw salad on it. It's like it's not
That's a good calzone.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, there you have it. Little Angela's. And I gotta say, this is quite a place, isn't it, Will?
Yeah, I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved my salad. I loved the calzone that you had.
Okay, what's this
Right.
video
Really good.
about?
Highly recommended.
Yeah.
If you happen to be in this area of Glen Allen,
Is that where we are?
I'm not
I
sure.
think so. I think
Yeah.
it's Glen Allen.
check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely stop by here, though. Good
It was.
place.
It was very good.
Delicious.
Yum yum.
Where'd you find that, Will?
And some pumpkin spice in
Oh, you
February.
don't? The pumpkin spice. You know, I always like the pumpkin spice.
Probably good.
Yeah, it's unusual though for, like you said, February.
This time of year, yeah.
You're gonna make something up there? You're gonna mix a couple together?
Oh yeah. So I got some pumpkin spice. I got some English toffee.
So we've seen the artist at work here.
There we go. There we go. You don't want to get too much. And then let's get some French vanilla in there. Oh yeah, that's good consistency.
Look at that, huh?
There it is. And that's how you do it.
It reminds me of when I was like a kid and I used to go by the soda machines. Did you used to do that and get like all different flavor sodas?
Yeah, I forget what it's called. It's not shotgunning, but it's something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time. I got some chicken here, Danny. You hungry after that Italian food or no? Because at first we were back here admiring the pumpkins, you know, the jack-o'-lanterns that are on there. And I was thinking, why don't they make a pumpkin spice soda?
I drink it.
I would too. That sounds like a good idea. Yeah.
Really good.
I noticed these cups right here. When I first poured the coffee, it's like these cups are very insulated. It doesn't burn your hands at all, you know. But then I realized the coffee's just cold.
I think it is.
That's what
It's
it
cold
is.
coffee.
Because I took a sip.
Oh my god.
Bathroom.
Now I could be wrong, but I think we just paid Starbucks prices for Howard Johnson's coffee.
Are you serious?
Oh, well, it was my total was 6 something, and it was 2 cups of coffee and the peanut juice.
Yes, peanut chews. And
So-
would you mind holding that coffee for me for a second? Yeah, I'm gonna actually highlight these peanut chews because these are the milk chocolate ones. Normally, the traditional ones are dark chocolate. It's got the red bar down the bottom. These are the milk chocolate ones. I have never had the milk chocolate peanut chews.
Wow.
I do prefer the milk chocolate over the dark chocolate. Don't know about when it comes to peanut chews though. We're about to find out. It's gonna be quite an
Okay.
adventure.
Hey.
What's going to
Was
be
that hot? Did that feel hot?
What's
It's
going to
not.
be an
It's
adventure
not.
is drinking that coffee right there. out of the
Yeah,
regular
and then
carafe.
walking around the woods.
We can't see you. You're a blur.
No, keep going. Ignore her.
I might have some spring clamps if those will help.
Can you still see me out here?
I can. You're in the far left field of view on the screen. But yeah, I can still see you.
Right, so this is the old well on the property, and it is really amazing the time it must have taken to build something like that, you know?
Yeah, we were just amazed because it's the work it would have taken. Look at the size of some of these stones in here. I mean, can you imagine trying to haul some of those stones? It had to have taken at least 2 grown men to be able to put some of these stones in the wall, because look how large they are. Those things have got to be extremely heavy. That's just amazing. It's a little bigger, so I wonder if that's the headstone and this is the footstone. Footstone's
Those are
usually much
pretty long.
smaller. It's a little far apart. I mean, these things have deteriorated so much that it's really just a chunk of rock now. There's nothing. You can't tell if there was a side to it.
It might have always just been a rock, though. I mean, maybe they didn't have...
It's marble.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe they didn't actually have it inscribed. You know, maybe they just found a marble stone to set there.
It could. I mean, it would be odd for them to do that. If they were going to do that, they would have just grabbed a stone from the local area and put it here, instead of paying for a chunk of marble. Well, no, and it's not actually like in the ground, it's just laying on top of it. But it is a chunk of the same stone. It's almost sad, like this overgrown, forgotten graveyard out here. Like, even though they're just bodies and I believe the spirit lives on, it still seems a little bit sad that it wasn't better taken care of.
So here we are at our base station. Had a chance to go in, interview the client. walk around the property a little bit, checked out the old graveyard, the old family plot. What are your thoughts so far, Tanya?
Well, the weather's participating. So far, I'm looking forward to seeing what we can get.
Absolutely. About to go out in the woods and do a spirit box session. And we're going to use this faceless doll as a trigger object.
Think it might work.
That's all just a mist. It's not raining. It's just misty. So we're going to have to rely pretty heavily on audio. So what we're trying right now is we have a recorder set out in the woods. And Linda's asking some questions through a handheld radio.
I can push the button with my gloves. What is your favorite game?
See the REM pod on the bottom left? I definitely heard it going on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like to color with the little girl that lives here?
And note it didn't go off that time. So it is out of range of the radio.
Danielle woke up with a scratch on her hand. Do you know who scratched her? A man has been seen around here. Do you know who he is? Is he related to you?
See what we got.
Okay.
I think it is interesting to do it this way. I mean, because
is.
there's nobody there asking the
seen it on the
questions, you know? So if we pick up a voice out there, we know it's not one of us.
Right. And so often spirits seem to be a little bit shy, and they seem to interact better with fewer people around, fewer investigators. So if there's no investigators out there, I'm willing to bet that we might have some pretty good EVPs out there.
Oh, there's more after.
Is it really?
Is there?
Something's definitely touching that thing and messing with it.
And then that's when the voice or the REM pod goes off.
Oh.
So you hear the snap, and then like 5 seconds later you hear another snap,
Uh-huh.
and then right as you're getting ready to ask the question, the REM pod goes off.
Oh.
So in that 10-second
that's
time frame where you hear
interesting.
all those noises, the REM
Yeah.
pod goes off.
That's really interesting.
So it's going from the
That
recorder
is.
to the REM pod.
Yeah. Stepping on twigs on the way. Maybe that's what it sound was.
So at home lately, I've been noticing things, and I'm not even thinking about anything we're doing here.
Right.
Anything, it's just, I'm just doing stuff in the house. And I will hear, like, I thought my daughter came home one night. I'll hear, like, the door thing creak. And I'm like, Juliana? And I'll go
Almost
peek
like
out,
somebody
there's
moving around.
nobody there. And I'll be in my room and I'll think, oh, what was that? Like a shadow.
Yeah.
There's nobody there. My house is very small.
Yeah.
This has been going on for about 3 weeks.
Oh, man.
Oh, it was-
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
It was the gremlin.
You brought that thing back. Yeah, remember that thing that you brought back that was banging on the car the whole ride home?
Yeah.
Ever since you got out of the
Well,
car,
do you remember the
that
couch
didn't
that
happen
stood up
anymore.
on its on when we went on some of those other ones? When I told
Mm-hmm.
you on my back porch, the couch was standing up sideways and it was
That's
flat.
weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's weird.
y'all's fault.
yeah.
But that's the weirdest thing that's been happening. That's been like, I just put it to the back of my mind.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like,
We've had weird things happening at our house too. My
during
daughter's
this
got a-
time frame.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just this morning, my daughter's got a flat iron, one of those like flat ones, and it sits on the back bathroom counter. And she came in and it was on, and it's got an auto shut off, so it won't keep itself on. But so she knew that it had just turned itself on recently, but it turns itself on, and so she turns it off and thinks, well, you know, like maybe I bumped it. And she goes out of the bathroom and she comes back a few minutes later to grab something else out of the bathroom, and
And
it's
it's
on
on
again.
again?
Actually, not dead instantly.
So we went out to the location where the old homestead was, and there's like a cement slab there, and he said he found some of the old, I think, floor joists or something like that. But what was interesting is we set the REM pod down out there on the cement slab, nothing around it. electrical wise or
No,
anything moving.
nothing.
None of us even around it because we had to go back in the woods. We'll have to trek through some branches and stuff to set it up. And it's going off. We got some good interaction with that thing. So, and we caught it on video too. So that's going to be in the case files video, which is pretty interesting. But we kind of did a little sneak attack, if you will, right? We left the recorder going back there and just walked away just to see what happens. Because we kind of got a vibe that these two spirits that might be here perhaps don't get along. Kind of a vibe that Linda got. If you want to fill in the folks at home about that.
So it was kind of my idea that perhaps the old man that this has been seen and sometimes heard around here is the one that is like the dominant figure, and that this may have been her grandfather, as opposed to being the man that we thought may have been killed on the tractor nearby. And to me, that kind of explains a lot. It explains why he sounds so protective over her, like he doesn't want us to have anything to do with her. He could be the one that scratched the woman, the client, on her hand. Maybe he's just an aggressive person. Maybe he's a very violent, aggressive person. And if that's the case, he very well could have killed this girl. And that might explain why he doesn't seem to want us to be there and doesn't want to interact with us at all and wants us to leave and doesn't want us to talk to the girl. But the girl seems very eager to talk, and just like children are, kind of open to speaking to us.
All right, so you can see it's a pretty foggy night here. You can see this mist in the air in the flashlight beam as we're wandering back into the woods here to get the equipment that we left set up. Will, what's that you're carrying there? I couldn't help but notice.
So this right here, we fight ghosts with it.
Yes. It looks like half of a, what were those things? A sigh?
Yeah, it does.
It does,
It does
yeah.
a little bit. No, it's just in case, if there is. I'm not really scared about the dead. I'm more scared about the living. Could be an animal. Could be a weird person out here in the woods. But you never know when you need one of these.
Yeah, good old beating
So
stick,
it's
huh? Is that what that's-
one to the kneecap, and then you run away.
Or you throw it at them and then
Right.
run.
You know what I noticed? I have a strong suspicion, and I want to know if you feel this too. So you see this tree right here? Now go to this tree over here. Doesn't it feel like that big tree was here when that house was here?
Yeah.
I get the feeling that it was at some point.
Yeah, it does. Like some of these trees do seem very old,
Yeah. So I'm
and-
wondering, as we were kind of talking about on the case files where, imagining this house that was once here, what did they see? Did they see these trees that were out here that we're next to now?
Right, and perhaps a lot
like-
smaller at the time, of course.
Right.
And we're not talking incredibly long ago. I mean, this could have been as recent as 70 years ago.
Yeah. Because we were talking about how the description of the girl fits, the clothing style of the 1920s, 1930s,
Mhm.
Couldn't have been that long ago. I noticed, shine your light a little bit right there. You see that little leaf or whatever that is?
Yeah.
I took a picture on my phone, and you can clearly see like what looked like an orb, but that's what that is. I was wondering what it was.
Kind of paranormal though. Like what kind of
Yeah.
tree has leaves on it in the middle of
Yeah.
winter?
So right now, this is Gas, Grub, and Ghosts. Let's see what we can get, just me and you, real quick. Just 2 seconds.
Let's do it.
Let's see what'll happen. So right now we have the REM pod sitting on that slab. Earlier we were getting some reactions from it. So right now, my name is Will,
I'm Jeff.
and earlier you were reacting to that REM pod. Could you do us a favor? Could you touch that light for us and turn it green? Let us know that you're here.
What if I were to tell you that the whole time we were gone, we were actually capturing all the sound that happened out here in these woods. So if you were talking, we're going to take that little box back and listen to it and hear your voice. If you're okay with that, can you turn that light to green?
If you're not okay with that and don't want us to listen to that voice, can you turn the light green? Nothing.
Nothing. And that's interesting because before, I mean, it was steady going off.
Yeah, it was going off immediately after we would ask very specific questions.
Yeah.
So
Even while we were here debriefing,
Mhm.
it was still going off in the background.
So that's really interesting. So it must be whatever was here is now gone. So let's go ahead and listen to the audio.
Sounds good.
I'll go grab it.
So we just set up by the well for a experiment. We did the sensory deprivation experiment. And we weren't able to show much video from it because during this time we had to go into blackout mode. So we were using the IR light and such. But perhaps not as interesting results as we've had in the past, but there were some interesting things that Linda saw, definitely, but no cooperation like we've had with previous experiments.
Right.
What are your thoughts, Tanya?
I'm thinking it was awful quiet out here this time.
Yeah.
It got real silently quiet for a minute, and then now you can hear things around us again. But for a little bit of a period of time, it was just dead silence.
Like the woods were just standing still.
Yeah, just real quiet.
Well, yeah, it was like at any moment, because it did get very quiet, it sounded like the AC unit, the heating vent over there would cut off and just completely silent. And I was waiting at any moment for the REM pod to go off or someone next to me touch my shoulder or we hear something in the woods. But not at any point did we ever hear anything like that, or did my brain ever conjure up anything like that. So yeah, needless to say, I'm kind of disappointed at this. I thought that from what we got before at the homestead, we would get something here at the well, but it seems like whatever it was has moved on.
There are a couple little things flying around out there that keep setting that off.
I told you.
Linda, talk about real quick that sensory deprivation, the story you just told.
What, out in the woods?
Yeah.
Well, I had this feeling at first like I was plunging into water, and it didn't feel like it was necessarily the well, like the well water. This actually felt like a lake or some sort of pond nearby. It was very cold, but I a couple of times throughout the experiment, I kept feeling that sort of plunging into water feeling. But then there was one moment where I felt like I was the little girl, and this house was a 2-story white house, and she was coming around the left side of the house and kind of peeking around the corner at the woman. There was an old woman sitting in the front yard, and she was sitting down doing something. And it was almost like the little girl had done something wrong, and she was scared to show up because she was afraid that she'd get in trouble. But then at one point, I felt like the name Mavis kept coming through, which is a very old-fashioned name, but definitely not one that would normally come to mind.
No,
if
I
it's just,
can't even
you know,
think of
yeah, it's
ever hearing that name
Mavis. Yeah, I mean, I've heard it before, but you know,
It would be
that's
the
an
name
uncommon.
for a period ago.
Yeah, it certainly would. But there was a couple of things, like I say, that I kept getting that sort of plunging into water, and almost like she fell into the water or was pushed into the water, because it was almost like a tumbling feeling once she was in the water, like she couldn't maybe figure out which way was up, and couldn't get out of it. But it was definitely kind of creepy. But I also felt like the little girl wasn't there with us most of the time during the experiment, but I could feel the old man behind me to my left at first, and it felt like he was walking up a path. And he had his hands in his pockets, and he's just kind of strolling along, but he's watching us the whole time. He came up the path kind of slowly and came behind me and then moved off this way. And it felt like he was not really wanting anything to do with us, but he really wanted to keep his eye on us as well. And then all of a sudden, the little girl kind of showed up, and I could see her reach down like she was trying to grab the antenna on the REM pod. And he said something to her, and she ran off. So, I don't know, just kind of some weird experiences. But unfortunately, I don't think anything was able to be confirmed this time, like there has been in the past. Partly, I think, due to his unwillingness to interact with us. And, you know, the fact that the little girl wasn't there for very long. So, strange. So I found something here that looks amazing. Look at these, like Reese's mini muffins or cupcakes. But then they also have the ones that are Hershey's, and they have cakes. Oh, the cakes over here too. Look at that.
Man, that looks good.
Doesn't that look really good?
Yeah, it looks like a big hearty piece of cake.
I know.
Probably moist.
Yeah.
And there's a Reese's chocolate
A Reese's
cake,
one.
too.
And it looks like more people have been eating the Reese's because there's so many of the Hershey's left.
It does.
But I can't imagine why.
It does. Yeah, going with the
cool.
paranormal theme. Some alien USB chargers.
Yeah, look at that thing.
That's pretty cool. I gotta say.
It is. I really kind of like that. I think I might have to have one.
Yeah.
How much are these things? Just-
$8.99.
What is that? $8.99.
It's an alien USB charger.
USB charger.
So we wrapped up the investigation out there in Unionville. Wandered down here to Locust Grove to the Sheets for some breakfast. So definitely excited about that. Got some grape juice, I see.
I did. I haven't had grape juice in a while. It sounds really good.
Yeah, grape juice is some good stuff. Now I got the Tropicana orange juice with some pulp. I like the pulp. Unfortunately, they don't have, like, they used to have ones that had lots of pulp. Now it's either some pulp or no pulp. Like, people are getting away from the pulp for some reason.
I don't like lots of pulp. I don't like to have to eat my liquid, my beverage.
See, I like to eat it. I do like to eat it. I like to eat the orange juice. But got some interesting stuff here. There's some hash browns right here.
Those look good.
Those look pretty good. And of course, I had to go with the classic, the Walker Breakfast Wrangler.
Ranger? Something. Yeah.
Ranger or
look
Wrangler?
At that thing.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Bacon, egg, of course, pico, guacamole, and some other orange stuff. I'm not sure what that is. And some other white stuff.
That looks pretty
It
good.
resembles sour cream. Might be sour cream. But it is very good. They have the bun, the bagel nicely toasted this time. Occasionally they will overdo it. Like it's a little bit too hard. And it makes it difficult to eat the sandwich. But this time it looks like they got it perfect. So I'm kind of excited.
Will,
Hi.
what's going on?
Man, so ghost hunting on a budget. I got some Black Forest ham with some 12 grain bread and some sugar snap pea crisps.
Oh man, that actually looks pretty good.
There we go. Got that crunch with a very simple flavor.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Delicious.
Those pea snaps, are those like the ones that are like, they're like chips, only
Yeah.
they're,
Yeah, they're so good. I love them.
Where do you get them?
Most places sell it.
I'll bet the Sheets brand is pretty good.
I'm not sure they have a sheet brand.
I don't know.
Yeah, here we got Tanya coming up to the table, and Tanya, for lack of better words, what are you bringing to the table?
A hamburger.
Will's been asking that since 8 o'clock.
See what I got
Did you get to build your own burger?
Well, I built it myself, but it was the budget burger.
You went back there and like put all the ingredients together and everything?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Mhm.
This is very accommodating sheets.
Oh, yes.
It is.
And it has jalapenos on it.
got
You made it. You had jalapeno?
Oh man, look at the sky out here. Isn't this crazy?
Look that way. It looks like, is it going to snow?
No, I hope not.